You're probably one of the most capable people in any room you walk into, and you still wonder sometimes whether you're good enough to be there. That is not a confidence problem. It's not imposter syndrome, and it's definitely not something a self-belief workshop is going to fix. In this video, I want to name what it actually is. I'm Sokuntha. I spent over 20 years in corporate leadership, reached director level, built a career I was proud of, and then, quietly, gradually burnt out. I built the stability under pressure method from what I lived and what I now see in every high-achieving woman I work with. At the end of this video, you will understand the difference between competence and self-trust, and why that distinction changes everything. Here's the thing that nobody says clearly enough. Competence and self-trust are not the same thing. Competence is what you can do. Self-trust is your relationship with your own judgment. Especially under pressure. Especially when the stakes are high. Especially when someone in the room pushes back. You can be extraordinarily competent and have almost no self-trust. In fact, the higher you climb, the more that gap tends to show up. Not because you're less capable at the top, because the visibility is higher, the scrutiny is sharper, and the cost of being wrong feels bigger. So the doubt doesn't shrink as you succeed, and for you, it might be growing too. I remember the day I was announced as director. My CEO and we already had the conversation. I knew it was coming. I had worked for it, genuinely, consistently, for years. And then the email arrived, sent to the whole company. I was alone in my office in Phnom Penh. I opened it, read it, and I stood up from my chair. I actually jumped because I was happy, genuinely, properly happy. And then, within seconds, within the same breath, a thought arrived. Am I actually cut out for this? Do I deserve this? Am I enough? And here's the part that still stays with me. I already knew the answer. Part of me knew I had earned it. The conversation with the CEO had told me. 20 years of work had told me. But the moment it became official, the moment it went to the whole company, something shifted internally. As long as it was a private conversation, it felt manageable. But the moment it was public, it felt exposed. Now everyone could see. Now there was no going back. And that shift from private to public triggered something that had nothing to do with my capability. It was a deep pattern. Your identity pattern. Doing exactly what it always does. And here's what that pattern is. Somewhere along the way, probably long before your career, you learned that your judgment needed to be checked before it could be trusted. Not criticized, not challenged, just checked, validated by someone else before you could let yourself act on it. Maybe you grew up in an environment where being smart was celebrated, but being too confident was quietly penalized. Where getting it right was expected, but getting it wrong cost more than it should have. Where approval was the currency, and withdrawal of it was the consequence. In that environment, self-doubt wasn't weakness. It made sense at the time. It kept you careful. It kept you easy to be around. It kept you safe. The problem is that you carry it into rooms where it no longer serves you, into boardrooms, into negotiations, into leadership. where hesitation reads as uncertainty, where over-explanation signals insecurity, where the very strategy that once protected you now quietly undermine you. And at the level you're operating at, it doesn't look like paralysis. It looks like over-preparing for meetings that you could easily run in your sleep. It looks like softening a position that you know is correct because someone senior pushed back. It looks like attributing your wins to circumstances and your losses to character. It looks like being the last person to speak up for yourself in a room full of people who have no problem backing themselves. And here's the part that almost never get named. You know you're doing it. You know you're more capable than the hesitation suggests. And still, in the moment, the doubt arrives before the confidence does. The gap between what you know and how you act is not a character flaw. It's a deep pattern. Your identity pattern. And deep pattern like this does not respond to motivation. They change when you go back and update the old rules. This is why no amount of achievement has ever fully closed the gap. Because you've been trying to fix a self-trust problem by collecting proof that you're good enough. And proof was never going to be enough. Not for something that has been built before the proof existed. And the voice doesn't go quiet because you got the promotion. It doesn't go quiet because you delivered the results. It doesn't go quiet because someone had told you that you were brilliant. It stops when you go back and update the rules that were set in a different room for a different version of your life. You are no longer in that room. You are allowed to lead from here. If what I've talked about today is landing for you, I've put together a free guide called Why High Achieving Women Lose Self-Trust Under Pressure. It goes deeper into what we have covered today, where the pattern comes from, how it compounds, and what it actually takes to interrupt it. The link to download is in the description below. The doubt you feel is not evidence that you're not ready. It's evidence of a pattern that was built before you had any say in the matter. And patterns, once you can see them clearly, can be changed. The doubt was never about your capability. It was about the old pattern running underneath it. If this resonated, subscribe. There's more where this came from. Understanding your pattern is the beginning of your power. No one owns you.